Hey everybody, welcome to Kingdom of Honor. I'm your host, Zanman Shane Sabunia, along with my good buddy, the Honorable Jeff, and we are joining Dynamite live in progress here as we've got what probably should be the main event, Jeff, here, the six-man tag. That's probably the best match you're going to have on the show with John Silver and Alex Reynolds and our man, Hangman Page, uh, taking on what do they call them now, the Hardy Party?
Yeah, which, eh.
Stupid.
I mean, is this really going to be our main event? Like, is this gonna? I know Dynamite has this thing about making the opening match the best match of the night, but what else is on this card? Okay.
I have no idea. I don't remember what else is supposed to be on this card tonight.
I don't remember hearing anything about this card other than this match. Although, yeah, I don't remember hearing anything.
You know what? Oh, you know what? I bet you we'll have tonight for the first time in a long time.
What?
Some inner circle drama.
Oh, yeah, because we haven't had that in a long time.
I know
I
it's
mean,
it's
it's been at least 7 days.
exactly.
I don't know. We kind of talked about this a little bit on Saturday, Sunday when we did our show, but I just hope it's weird because I think this is opening the door for Sammy to to have his face turn, but I've never seen Sammy as a face. I don't know how that's gonna work. I love Sammy. I cheer for Sammy every time. But I think the reason why is
Yeah.
because he's such a great heel, and I've always been the guy that loves the heels.
Right. Yeah, I have no idea how that's gonna work out. I'm watching this at the same time. I'm kind of wishing I was watching Ring of Honor. I
They
just
hit,
loved Ring of Honor so much the last few weeks, and
oh, and they've been on fire too. They
they've been on
really have.
fire. And I've seen all the way up through their December 4th episode. So I've not seen like last Friday's yet. And I'll probably watch that tomorrow night and be all caught up on it. You know. So
It's everything I've been seeing. They've been on fire. They're hitting all cylinders, and it's weird because probably their best and most famous wrestler isn't even on the program.
who's that? EC3?
All right, you got me. I was thinking Marty Skrull.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, I figured it was one of those two, but yeah, either way, Marty's not even on the roster right now,
Right,
or if he is, they're not publishing him on the roster. And EC3 was a that was the probably no, I will say certainly the biggest match on the card would have been EC3 versus Jay Briscoe. We're talking
right,
about former TNA World Champion, um, one of the hottest guys in wrestling at one time against former two-time ROH World Champion, and both guys once had undefeated streaks that lasted for 24 months. I mean, it
right.
was, it would have been, and as you know, in my opinion, Jay Briscoe is like the heart and soul of Ring of Honor.
Oh yeah,
So I
absolutely.
mean, so to have those two guys against each other in a big match at Final Battle not only was the biggest match on the card, but certainly would have been the biggest draw on the card for those who are not already Ring of Honor faithful.
Right.
So it's really a big blow that he was not dealt with COVID. We just have to see how they what they did to try to mitigate that. Uh, because they're not announcing the changes to the card until the 1 hour free hour on the night of Final Battle.
Right. The final battle's this weekend, right?
It's Friday night. Yep. So that big match on the card is off, and the six-man titles can't be defended because two of the three members of the six-man champions are also out with COVID,
Wow.
along with the King.
Yeah, and the one thing I've really wanted to catch up on is the fact that how that this version of Ignorables is going.
Yeah, they're actually called Las Faccione Ignorable.
Yeah. So, and I'd love to see how this variation of it is doing.
Well, the other three-fourths of the faction will be on there. Amy Rose, along with the world champion and the TV champion, so Roosh and What the hell? And
Dragon Lee, Rio
Dragon
Lee,
Lee, yeah,
whatever
Real
he's
Lee,
going
yeah,
by.
exactly. And Roosh versus Brody King should be a hell of a match.
And the thing, because they still have that partnership with NJPW. Um, the thing that confuses me is how has there not been a crossover storyline with Naito versus Rush?
Yeah,
It's been
that's
almost 2 years now, and Rush was Naito's leader for what, the whole time he was gone from NJPW, so like 3 years, something like that.
my puppy's trying to climb on top of me and knock my TNT app off. So I gotta go back into it.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. That would have been a great storyline, and maybe we'll still get it going forward. But
The
who
fa-
knows? How much crossover they're going to have now in the time. Or when we're going to be able to get back to crossover stuff, at least here in the United States.
well, judging by everything I've heard, it's going to be at least another 6 months.
Right. Exactly. Come on, come on, TNT app. Let's go.
I don't know.
Where
And
did I go?
as far as this Matt Hardy private party thing, I just I don't know. I thought I could get into it because that would have been a really cool, new Team Extreme type thing. But I just don't like the way Matt Hardy is now.
Meaning what?
I don't know. There's just something.
Well,
I think you might have said it a couple of weeks ago that like Matt winning his feud against Sammy was a mistake, and it always confuses me. Like you have a chance to build. I mean, Sammy's already a star. I get it, but you have a chance to make him a superstar. All he had to do was beat Matt Hardy, and Matt Hardy's at that age. I mean, he's got to be in his 50s now. He's at that age where he should be jobbing to people like Sammy Guevara.
yeah, he should be. I really don't understand it. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's great to have Matt Hardy back. I love the broken character, but at the same time, he really should be in that. If he's going to be against guys like Sammy or MJF, he should be putting them over,
Right.
or at least once in a while, not waiting three straight matches against guys like Sammy.
And he's 46. I just looked
Okay,
it up. So, but still, he's at the twilight of his career. And he should be at this point in his career putting over people, not constantly winning feuds, no matter how great his character is. His character
right,
is what got him to be a wrestler at 46.
right, and that's kind of I think where you and I have had maybe our biggest problem with Impact so far. I'm sorry, with AEW so far, in that they seem to often that want to go with the established names, which are often established WWE names, um, and push them over their younger talent. And that's just not something I really want to see. Like I don't like
Are you
Jericho.
kidding me? This
But
whole you might be ahead of me, but I just saw the finish of this match, and this whole thing was to push Matt Hardy's heel turn.
well, yeah. What else would it be?
That's ridiculous. You just sacrificed again another young talent in Hangman Page for the established veteran in his storyline.
Yeah, but Hangman didn't get the loss there.
No, but still. I mean, he was in this match. It just dumb.
Wait, what is that plaque that MJF's holding?
Okay, you are way ahead of me.
Let me see if I can pause it. No, I can't pause it.
How did you get that far ahead of me?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm trying to fast forward.
Did you
Okay.
have to pause it at some point?
No, I had to restart it because I switched from the app on my computer because I couldn't hear you to my phone.
Right. I just don't know how you can fast forward. That's why I was wondering. He wants to go to a plaque for the dinner debonair thing. That's just weird. Okay.
Well, yeah, the New York Times Best Performer Award.
Well, yeah, clearly. Rhaegar knocked my Coke down and knocked my headphones out and hit the Roku remote, shutting the TNT off, where I had to restart it. And then I made room for him to climb up here with me, and he went and laid on another chair. So,
Jackass.
damn, you damn little puppy, pepperoni. He's ignoring me now.
Ugh, I'm not a fan of that promo I just saw. Oh, this is an official Hulu ad, so I can't fast forward.
Yeah, he's just ignoring me now. You pissed him off, Jeff.
Yeah, sorry. That's okay. I have a child watching Chuggington on my actual TV, so I can't even watch um, Dynamite on that.
Rhaegar, you want to go over to Jeff's house and eat his cat for him?
Oh, yes. Man, I would love to go a whole night without a tree tipping over.
Remember when we used to go cow tipping as kids? Now your cat likes to go tree tipping at your house.
And she's good at it.
Yep.
It's like every single night she clears the tree of any ornaments, candy canes, anything that's on it, and then knocks it over.
So did you watch that El Desperado versus Hiromu Takahashi match
I
yet?
did not. I haven't had time.
You you've been watching hour after hour of Supernatural, so yes, you have had time.
Well, that's a whole different situation.
How?
Because if I'm going to watch a match of that magnitude, I want to pay attention. And watching Supernatural is kind of like background show while I'm doing my work.
Okay, that's fair.
Speaking of Supernatural, I am loving season 14. I know you kind of got sick of it. Um, in
Well,
season,
it really threw me seeing that Dean jumped out. That Michael jumped out of Dean so early in it. I thought because just like we talked about with that other season where Dean was a demon and then like they it was so quickly it changed. It was the same thing with this season. I thought, well, what a lost storytelling opportunity to keep Michael in Dean for that time and let them not be together
yeah,
for a
but I
while.
just got to an episode where Michael's now back in Dean. So I want to I haven't seen that story unfold yet. I won't have my final judgment on the whole story until I see how it unfolds.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
can
I
understand that.
get it. It's supernatural. We got one season left. I can't imagine Dean being Michael for 2 seasons. So I'm pretty sure that, it's going to end at some point. But I just want to see how the whole arc goes before I really place judgment on it. I and as I've been watching this, the only season that I really didn't like was, I believe it was season 12, after Jack was born, and that whole like the whole first half of that season, simply because my favorite character has been Dean since day one, and seeing him be that dickbag that he was kind of hard to see. But now in season 13, then again in season 14, he's back to the same Dean that I've loved forever.
Sure.
And I personally, I really like Jack, and I think the relationship between Dean and Jack, especially in season 14, has gotten so good that I'm back on board. So right now, if I had to pick a season they could have got rid of, it would have been that season 12 with the whole Dean and Sam drama that literally was the entire fucking season.
Um.
I think that was the
Yeah.
one with the Mark of Cain.
Yeah. I no. I see. I know where you're coming from. I just I have had a hard time and I had a hard time really liking the show once Crowley died and Jack came on there. So,
Yeah, Crowley's death was a little, but at the same time,
and
it
I mean,
was.
are you really liking the parts of season 14 where it's dealing with I can't even think of his name, but Lucifer's
Oh,
shell going around doing the stupid shit he's doing?
it's weird and kind of like Yeah, I'm not sure. So far, like I said, I just finished episode 9, and now Lucifer's vessel is a serial killer.
Yeah.
But then he prays to Lucifer, and they did the whole like awakening thing, and I'm confused because the last episode I saw was the Guardian of the Empty going after Jack. So did Lucifer wake up, or did the Guardian wake up? I'm confused. I'm sure they'll explain it soon. It's just confusing right now.
Yep.
And I love the fact that Castiel made the deal he did to save Jack. And then when Jack was like, "Why'd you make that deal?" He's like, "Seriously, he wants to wait until I'm completely 100% happy. I've lived on this earth. I'm never going to be 100% happy. It could be centuries." That made me laugh. I enjoyed that a lot.
Well, wait till you see how he gets that pure happiness. So, all right. So, um, here we go. We have TH2 on the show on the main program for AEW for the second week in a row. Jeff, what do you think
Actually,
of
it's like
that?
4 weeks in a row.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Okay.
because 2 weeks ago they attacked the Young Bucks. The week before that, they had that match against whatever that other brothers team is. I can't think of who it is now.
Right. Yeah.
But out of the two that I'd rather see wrestling, I'd rather see Jack Evans and Angelico.
yeah.
I'm about a second ahead of you right now, so I fast
Okay.
forward a lot. So
That's okay.
I found out that my Hulu app records the show. It's like set up for some reason just to record the show, probably because it's the most consistent one I watch. Yeah, I don't know. I think I would have rather seen Jack Evans than Angelico. I don't know, I've never bonded with Angelico, but I've always been a huge fan of Jack Evans.
It's hard not to be a fan of Jack Evans.
Well, I loved these two, and who was the third person they had in their little uh um I can't remember what it was called, trios, um when they were in Lucha Underground.
Oh, it was that chick, wasn't it?
Yeah. Was it
I don't.
Sexy Star? I can't remember.
I don't think it was Sexy Star. Was it Evil East?
Yes, it was. It
Yeah, it
was
was
Evil
Evil
East.
East, right? Okay.
Because those three were great in as the trios champions and just everything they did in Lucha Underground. And I get why they stayed tag team with Triple A and now in AEW, but I've always felt like Jack Evans was the superstar of that group.
Yeah, he's never really gotten his.
Do
Yeah. I mean, he was in a stable, in a Ring of Honor with Alex Shelley, Austin Harries, and Roderick Strong.
Jesus
So,
Christ. Yeah, he got buried there. He he was the fourth most popular one in that stable.
yeah. So I mean, when you have that level of talent along with you, you're kind of gonna get the short stick there.
I just remember the first time I saw him on Lucha Underground, and I told you about how much I loved him. And what'd you call him, the Elastic Man or
Yeah,
something like
Plastic
that?
Man. Yeah,
And I just, it was the first time I ever saw him was on Lucha Underground, and I absolutely loved him. And
yeah.
I mean, it's not that I don't like Angelico, I like Jack Evans more.
And he's the first one I ever saw do the 630 splash.
Oh, yeah. I just remember watching or seeing his that first entrance where he walked on his hands to the ring.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was just like, what the fuck is this guy? And then when I watched him perform, I'm like, this guy is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I've been a Jack Evans fan ever since.
Speaking of the 630, what is going on with Ricochet these days?
Last I heard he's buried in some tag team. He's got
Really?
the normal NXT call up to WWE treatment. I mean, he's not a super big guy, so he's never going to be a superstar in Vince McMahon's world. The fact that Seth Rollins actually made it just shows how great Seth Rollins was. And as much as I love Ricochet's matches, Ricochet is no Seth Rollins.
No, he said, but he can do fantastic things out there, but he doesn't have the. I don't know what is he. What do you think he doesn't have that Rollins does? He's got the charisma, he's got the in ring ability, so it's
He
it's
doesn't have the
probably
mic skills.
yeah, it doesn't have the mic skills and the
He doesn't.
personality, right?
There's only two people on this planet that I've ever seen. Well, I guess one of them's not on this planet anymore, but ever seen leave for an injury and come back and piss the crowd off so much they were instantly heels. Seth Rollins and Eddie Guerrero. The only two people I've ever seen do something like that.
When did
Now,
Rollins do it?
when he came back from that first injury, they tried to make him a babyface, and the crowd was just not buying it. And he cut that heel promo and was instantly a heel again.
Ah,
And
gotcha.
then, of course, they turned him babyface like 2 weeks later because WWE doesn't care what fans think.
Well, they tried to, but the only way they turned a babyface was by having his heel mentor attack him.
Yeah,
That doesn't, that really doesn't work. That really did not work for a babyface turn.
no, and I mean, yeah, the fact that Triple H attacked him and Kevin Owens won the title and all that crap, and uh, Kevin Owens is another guy. When we saw how great he was in Ring of Honor, I've just never felt like he's reached that level with WWE.
Who's that? I'm sorry.
Kevin Owens.
You don't think so?
No, I mean I think he's one of the few people that has come out of NXT and been a superstar on WWE programming. But do you really think he's ever reached that Ring of Honor level or even his NXT level?
Um, I guess I didn't watch it enough. When he was starting to when he was becoming this Steve Austin like character on SmackDown. So I guess I can't say for sure that he never reached that level, but not everything that I've seen as he reached the level he was at in because I mean in Ring of Honor it was always like kill Steen kill or
Yeah,
a die Steen die and it was either you rolled with Kevin Steen or you died with Kevin Steen
right,
or you hated
exactly.
Kevin Steen and yeah, so I mean, while I do think he's been very over in WWE, I don't think that he's gotten to the level in WWE that he did with in Ring of Honor. But I also can't really criticize WWE for that because very few guys ever get to that level in any promotion. You know,
Well, especially, I mean,
I mean,
there
I
are
mean, I mean, I mean, he may have been the most over guy in the history of Ring of Honor. Did I lose you?
ever. What?
I thought maybe I lost.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now
Okay.
I can. I was just saying, he might have been the most over guy in the history of Ring of Honor in the same way that, Ric Flair is the most over guy in the history of the NWA, or Hulk Hogan is the most over guy in the history of WWE.
You
I mean,
think,
it's,
would you
you
pick
know, it,
Hogan over Austin as far as the most over?
um,
I mean, it's,
I think he was over for a longer period of time at the top than Austin was.
but Austin is by far the most over ever in
Yeah,
WWE.
so for peak, it's probably Austin. You know,
But for longevity, you're right. And it's the same with Flair. It's the same with Kevin Owens. In Impact, of course, we'd have to go AJ Styles as the most over ever.
yeah, yeah, I think so.
I mean, because AJ was over for what, almost 10 years? He might be the most over in any company for a long period of time ever. I can't think.
Right.
I mean, Flair was for a good 7 or 8 years, but nothing like the run AJ had in TNA.
Yeah, and it's and the thing is that I don't know who I would pick in NJPW because you got Antonio Inoki, you got the Great Muda, you got Masachono, you got uh,
Now
Kazuchika
Okada,
Okada and Hiroshi Tanahashi. So it's like, who would you and Tetsuya Fujinami. So it's like really who would you put at the very top of that pyramid? I really have no idea.
to be honest. The original Kenta. Dude never won a match, and he was more over for a longer period of time than anybody else in that company.
Kenta Kobashi?
Hmm.
Well, he was no, he was more AJPW than he was NJPW.
Oh, yep, you're right. You're right. Okay. Jesus, NJPW, you're right. I mean, Okada might be the most over now, but he's only had like a 6 or 7 year run. Kabashi was at least there for 9 or 10 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really. I really don't. That's the thing with the NJPWs. I really don't know who I would say was the most over ever in that promotion.
I
Well,
mean,
actually, you know what? You know what? It's probably the guy we haven't even mentioned yet. It's actually probably if you really think about it, it's actually probably Jushin Thunder Liger.
yeah, because I mean, even his retirement tour was probably more over than anything else on those shows.
Right.
But I
And
mean,
he's and he's probably the guy that crossed over the most, for internationally for them as well.
the only person you can really, the only company you can really make an argument for, other than NJPW, because well, Jushin, I get that. Okada's up there, Kabashi's up there. There's a lot of people that are up there. But other than that, like TNA, there's no question. It's AJ Styles. Ring of Honor.
I think it's Kevin Steen in Ring of Honor. I really
I
do.
think so too. And I think, I mean, even that run Jay Lethal had, his second run with the title really, really killed that.
Yeah. Danielson was a big star for them for quite a while, but I still don't think he had the emotional connection with people um, that Steen did.
All right, what about NXT? Who would you put? I'm going Adam Cole.
That would break my heart if that was true.
I I can't think of anybody else that's had the run like he's had and has gone through all the changes he has and has been as popular. I mean, I'd like to say Gargano. I'd like to say even Finn Balor had a huge run there. But who can you think more than Adam Cole is the biggest star that NXT has ever had?
Well, do they even qualify for this conversation?
I think so because they've been around for
They've,
what?
they've, been, they've been around for 6 years.
They've been around long enough and they've produced some like ridiculous stars that have been destroyed by the main roster. I mean, Galloway was huge there. Steen was huge there. Well, Owens was huge there. Sammy was huge there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I had to say right now, who has been their most over, it's probably Adam Cole. But
C-
I also feel like they've only been around for 6 or 7 years. So is it really even a fair comparison to the other companies we're talking about?
Probably not because, like we said with Impact and AJ, that was a good 10-year run. And I mean Steen was only really the biggest guy in the company for what, 2 or 3 years?
What company?
Ring of Honor.
Well, yeah, but he was also there for a long time. You know.
Yeah, true. Very true. And I can't think of anybody other than maybe the Briscoe brothers that would be on his level.
Yeah, I think the other one that I think of is like probably like Samoa Joe and Brian Danielson.
Yeah, Brian
You know,
Danielson was huge there too. But, okay, then that leads another discussion. Who's the most over in multiple companies? I mean,
it's probably Hogan.
or Danielson. I mean, can
It's
you that 2014 run that Daniel Bryan had? I would argue that he was more over at that point than Hogan ever was in WCW.
really.
Once Hogan had his heel turn, he was great, but it was a short sprint because it more became about Nash and Hall and all the other NWO guys really quickly, too.
I don't know, man. He was still really in the spotlight, really, really big.
He was
I
in the
don't know.
spotlight, but that's because he was Hulk Hogan. But I mean, if you think about it, he really only had a run from 96 to about maybe the end of 97 in WCW. Maybe you could argue 95 when he was still a face and first came in, but I don't know the WCW crowd really ever got behind him until he turned heel. Put the
Speaking
cat
of the
down.
NW, speaking of the NWO in '97, that they're trying to recreate that shit with Sting from 20 years ago,
Yeah, and it's annoying as hell.
or I guess it's 13. No, it is 20 years ago, right? 23 years ago now. Yeah. So yeah,
24,
that's
well, 24, because he really started his sting, the Crow sting, in middle of '96. Well, no,
yeah,
War Games '96. So was that November?
yeah. So you're right. So 24 years. Yeah, that was kind of lame. Um, I don't know. I mean, and yeah, Danielson's a good choice.
I can't think of anybody else that has had the same level of success in multiple companies. I mean, Hogan might have been the only one, but I never really felt like Hogan was as over in the WCW as Daniel Bryan was in the WWE. I mean, Jesus Christ, did Hogan ever stop shows because the fans just would not let it go?
No,
Exactly.
but now let's also consider the fact that there's a certain favorite of yours and mine that was over in three promotions in consecutively, really big. TNA, then NJPW, then WWE.
Yeah, you're right. And of course, I still, if it wasn't for Jericho's greatness, he would still be my GOAT.
Right.
I think, but I mean, if you think about it, the one thing Jericho has on him is mic skills. Like Jericho's been able to do the comedy character, and I know AJ did it for a while in TNA when Christian Cage was there. But has
Yeah,
he
but I hated that.
but has he ever been able to pull it off for a long time? And he's never been the greatest on. I think right now, I mean we've talked about this before. I mean there was a while there where my favorite wrestler of all time was Flair, and now he's been surpassed by both AJ and Jericho.
Right.
I mean Jericho to me right now is the greatest of all time, and AJ is nipping at his heels.
Yeah, and see, Flair to me has always been, was always kind of. I'm not trying to think of the best way to say this. It was
Shitty.
no, 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 not shitty. It was where it was always to me, where I was, the way that the way that I grew up, where like when I started watching pro wrestling, all I got was WWE.
Right.
And so like I would see like Ric Flair in the magazines, and I would and I would be like, and I saw like bits and pieces of him like wrestling Ricky Steamboat, like just clips of those matches, and it was kind of like an unrealized thing where I was like, yeah, I really like this guy. And then the more I actually watched him, the more it was I realized that I was like I was liking what I read in an article, not what I actually saw in the ring, because
See,
after a while it just seemed like it was really he was really wrestling the same match over and over again.
see, for me, my top three is Jericho, AJ, and Flair.
I know.
My fourth is Randy Savage. I seriously think if Randy had been that top of the mountain longer than he was, he would have been higher up for me. But I've always felt like Savage is the one of the. Did Rusev dye his hair back to black
I think I need to get that shirt that Rusev has. I would look amazing in that.
or Miro? It's not Rusev
Yeah,
anymore.
but I would love that. I think I'd look amazing in that shirt that Miro's wearing. Don't you?
Well, I mean, you do kind of look like him, just with less muscle tone.
That's true.
Just
No muscle, less muscle tone, and I wear glasses, and he doesn't. That's
did
pretty much
he
the only.
did he bah humbug us? I fucking love him. And that was one thing. I mean, you brought this up on Sunday, and I kind of agree with you. I think he's so much better as a face than a heel.
Yeah, I think so too.
Who's this?
Eddie Kingston.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. See, and for me, let's see, we're talking about you said something about Flair that I was going to just say. Can't remember what it was. Oh, Flair. Like when I think about Flair, um, he and Rey Mysterio are two guys where I look at them and I think they're super overrated. But I read all these wrestlers that like have looked up to them and modeled their career on them and praised them and what they can do in the ring. And I'm like, well, I'm obviously I have to be wrong if there's many wrestling wrestlers that embrace everything those two guys do.
Well,
You know.
and as far as Flair goes, like you talk about WWE being your first love. For
Hmm.
me, my first love was the AWA with Flair as the flagship because he was the NWA champion, but he was making a lot of appearances in AWA. And then when the Horsemen were born, I was an NWA fan. So I really fell in love with that first incarnation. And I know people like to say, oh God, why can't I think of his name? He became a Bradshaw in WWF. He was like the Widowmaker for a while.
Oh, Barry Windham.
Yeah, and I know everybody thinks that Barry Windham, Four Horsemen was the greatest ever, but I personally, my favorite Four Horsemen ever is the original incarnation with Blanchard and the Andersons and Flair. And I just personally, that is my favorite Horseman of all time, but that's where I got my start. So I've been, I've seen Ric Flair at his peak when he was great. I mean, I'll admit after about 92, 93, he really wasn't the same guy because he was still wrestling 80s style matches.
Hmm.
But during the 80s, when I was a kid growing up, and that's what I grew up on, that's why I have such a love for Ric Flair.
I can understand that. And I think a lot of the things that I think like a lot of the reason that I don't feel that way about him is and this probably isn't fair to him, but the way that he like devolved over the years, and he just he kind of has like the Michael Jordan with the Wizards thing to me, where he just wrestled for too long, and and one thing that always stands out to me for him is that interview on Nitro where he took off his jacket, threw it on the ground, and started elbow dropping it. you know
Was that the I'm fired, fire me, I'm already fired promo?
It might have been. I don't know, but I remember him, ripping off his jacket, throwing it down, and elbow dropping it, and it was just kind of thing like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, why? What the hell? And it just made me like look and see like, what have I been liking all these years of this guy? You
I
know?
think my favorite promo, yeah, I remember in like the mid 90s, um, and I remember watching him and his face just turning beet red during promos. And
Yeah.
even back then, I used to love reading people's descriptions of what happened. So I would read the articles online about people's breakdowns, and one of my favorite lines was a guy that said, "Flair's gonna have a stroke on TV at some point." And it was after a promo that he did where he said that he used to be able to have a great match with a broomstick.
Right.
And it just that's just one of those things that's always stuck out in my mind.
Um. Yeah. The other person that I really thought we'd see die in the ring at some point because he would turn this weird orange color when he wrestled. The last couple of
Brock
years of his
Lesnar
career was Kurt Angle.
or Brock Lesnar. I mean, what color does Brock get?
That's true, but Kurt, yeah, I think Kurt did it years before Brock did.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't know what you're thinking, but I'm not liking this Lance Archer as a face or Death Triangle as a face for that matter.
Yeah, I don't know if they're really faces.
They're kind
I
of
just,
tweeners, but we got the Murder Hawk monster that is having teammates now. I don't like it.
I think it's a very uneasy alliance because look how pissed off he is at Pac for Pac going after the guy he
Kingston,
wanted to go after.
right?
You know,
I love the fact that they keep bringing up the Seven character for Dustin.
where's Brody Lee been anyway?
I don't know. I have no clue. I wonder if he's in some kind of quarantine or something, because I don't think he's been around since they've started allowing people in.
No, it's been a long time. I'm just wondering, why he's not been back.
But the fact that they keep bringing up the Seven character for Dustin, in a roundabout way,
Hmm.
makes me happy because that was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. Do you remember him as Seven in
I
WCW?
I think I blocked it out.
Where he it was a one-time thing. He came to the ring dressed as some like they did some promos for a while where he was stalking children, and then he floated to the ring, and it was a disaster. And he came to the ring, announced as Seven, and he cut this promo about how he's never going to be a character like that again. And then 2 days later, he was back in the WWF.
So we're best friends up against this week.
I'm not mad at them being on the show. I mean, there for a while I was pissed because they were the only people that it was like them and SCU were the only tag teams that were on every week.
Hmm.
But when was the last time we actually saw them in a fight? Was it that parking lot brawl?
Might have been. It sounds right.
And that was against Lucha Brothers, wasn't it?
I had some Jack yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't bring that up.
No, no, that's
All right.
okay. I
Okay.
might have had some a week or so ago.
Oh, hope you're okay.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it's been refreshing because it made me realize that I don't have the problem that I thought I had.
Oh, that's good.
It was more of a depression thing that I was going through and a way to cope
Okay.
because I was able to have some a couple weeks ago and haven't had any since.
Oh, good. That's awesome.
So it 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 it's starting to make me feel it was more of a just weird spot in my life type of thing.
I've actually, I think I mentioned to you before that my wife and I listen to this podcast called Small Town Murder,
Yeah, yeah.
and
I
and
didn't I get you started on that?
no, you were listening to. Were you listening to that? Is
Yeah.
that the one you got me started on?
That one, and there was another one where these two chicks talk about their my favorite murder.
Yeah, that's no, that's the one you got me started on. I think I told you about Small Town Murder.
It's a possibility. I know I was listening to it for a while. I haven't listened to a podcast in forever, but
Well, they've been advertising, like one of their sponsors now is a company called First Leaf Wines, and it's kind of like a streaming service for wines,
nice.
where you pay like with their like their first time offer with using their promo code, you get you get 6 bottles of wine with free shipping for 29.95.
Damn. It's not a bad deal.
No, not a bad deal at all.
I know I'm still. Oh, and I know I've mentioned this Factor before, this food delivery service.
Yep.
And with my current situation, I need to start making some cutbacks, so I can continue to afford this. And the reason why I'm saying that is it's expensive, but I started doing that 3 weeks ago, and I've lost 23 pounds
Wow.
in that
Awesome.
3 weeks because of the way that the diet is done. So I don't know where I'm going to make cutbacks, but because of my current situation with a couple things I told you about over the weekend that happened,
Hmm.
I'm going to need to make some cutbacks. I just don't know where.
Oh, okay.
It's going to have to probably be some streaming services and things like that.
Yep.
I just don't know which ones.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you want to, if do you still get your HBO Max for free, or are you paying for that?
I get it free.
Okay. Well, never mind then.
It's part of my AT&T. Um, I,
But I
and
thought you canceled your. Oh, it's part of your ATT, not
yeah,
your.
yeah,
Okay.
I
Yeah,
switched
not your.
I canceled DirecTV and I switched my phone plan and it became free from my AT&T.
Okay.
So it's just part of my AT&T package, which that's something that's never going away. I'll always keep AT&T. So, um,
Gotcha. Okay.
and I can't cancel, like Disney Plus or anything because that's my TV, and is Hulu. And that's part of having Hulu. It's like an extra $3, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just thinking, and then like Ring of Honor, it's paid for another year. And the only thing I can think of that's a monthly payment but I can't really cancel it because we need it for our lives is WWE Network and NJPW. Those are the only two things that I'm thinking about. And if I think about it, that $20 that I'm spending on that, that's not really going to help me out that much.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's true. $20 is not going to do much for you.
When I need like 300, 400. So I got to figure out some cutbacks. It's going to have to happen somewhere. I just don't know where. Grab a Lunchable.
Cat food, maybe.
Well, that'll save me $15 a month. Oh, litter. That'll save me about $35 a month. That'd save me more than cutting out those two streaming services. And I
Um,
wouldn't have to pick up my tree every morning.
so it looks like Brody Lee's been out with an ankle injury for a while.
Oh, is that it?
He's been out since October 7th, so he's been out ever since the dog collar
Only one
match. So
more?
it's been you know, over 2 months now.
That was his last match? His last
Yeah.
appearance? Was that
Yep.
so dumb?
It
I'm
really
still.
it really is considering he could still be leading the. I mean,
Right.
if he's still going to be part of the Dark Order, he could be leading the Dark Order with even with an injury.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
not like he needs to be in the ring. He could still be there as a mouthpiece.
what are we doing like an 18
Good
man
job.
tag match here?
I don't know. There was people that were announced, and I was just like, it's inner circle against a bunch of people.
Oh, stupid! It's like a 12-man tag. Ugh.
Yeah, 6 on 6. And who the fuck
Why?
are these people? Okay, that's Varsity Blondes there. And who's the other tag team?
It's those two brothers, isn't it?
Is it what? Who? Yes, you couldn't you couldn't tear it off. Okay. What is their name? I can't. Why can't I think of their name?
I don't know. I can't think of it either.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't really know what I think of the varsity. I mean, you already know my feelings on Brian Pillman Jr. anyway.
Yeah,
But
and I'm right there with you. I don't know what to think of them either. It is kind of funny though
I,
that
I
the
I
only
really
members.
I really should cut Pillman some slack. I mean, he's a young guy. I really shouldn't keep holding a grudge that he just that he kind of snubbed me at that that time I tried to say hi to him and stuff.
Well, and
But
if you think about it, I mean, he's what, 23, 24,
yeah,
and all he's been called his entire life is a legacy. That's gonna go to anybody's head. And
yeah,
remember kind of a dickbag Teddy Hart was back when he was that age?
yeah, I do.
So he'll
That's what I said.
mature.
That's what I said. I'm trying not. I'm trying to turn my other cheek with that right now. And then he
Does
goes and
he
steals
have,
Chris
did
Jericho's
he
move
put
from him.
paint under his eyes?
Yeah, I think he's got like that football stuff.
What the f?
Well, their team is the Varsity Blondes, Jeff.
All right, fair enough. I do like how they, kind of, that's a callback to, his dad's tag team.
Yeah, me too. What's the other? Who's the other guy?
I don't know. I have no clue.
All right,
It's another guy with long hair. That's all I know.
and blonde hair too.
Yeah, because they're blondes. It
Yeah,
is kind of
the other.
surreal though, seeing Jericho in there against a Pillman, because I don't think he ever wrestled his dad, did he?
I don't know for sure.
If he did, it wasn't on a major promotion. It might have been indie or something.
Well, he probably could have done it in WCW and just not remember it too.
Mm.
That's right. There's never made
Jericho
a big deal of it.
Jericho didn't join WCW until late '96, early '97, after Pillman already left,
Oh, okay, that's true.
because he was an ECW guy before that.
That's
And I
true.
think before that he was in Mexico, wasn't he? So unless they met
Yeah,
in Mexico at some point,
yeah, that's true. Hey, yeah, when I saw them team last week, I was like, well, why is Brian Pillman teaming with Jungle Boy? So
right?
I realized it isn't Jungle Boy.
He's a little bit thicker than Jungle Boy.
He is and taller, but at first glance, that's what I thought it was.
The only thing that I hope is that if they do pull a face turn for Sammy, they give him a push. like they've given Scorpio Sky and Jungle Boy and MJ, and now it's Orange Cassidy. Because I feel like they're not giving him the push because he's in a heel faction. But when you see people things like this, is he ever going to get over as a face?
Yeah, that's true.
He is letting his hair grow out though. He's not. He doesn't have that heel haircut like he used to have.
There's a heel haircut.
Well, remember when I used to mock his haircut because I was like, "That's stupid." He had that like mohawk that was long on top and shaved on the sides,
Yeah,
and I mocked it, and you said it was like the perfect heel haircut.
I don't remember that, but
Yeah,
I don't remember a lot of things these days.
yeah, me either. But he's starting to let his hair grow out, so he looks a little more respectable. I just hope that if they do pull the trigger and turn him face, I think it's a mistake because I think he's one of those Ted DiBiase natural heels type of people. But if they do pull the trigger, they need to give him the push.
You are aware that Ted DiBiase was a babyface for longer than he was a heel in his career,
Oh
right?
yeah, I mean when he was in
Okay,
Memphis, he was like the greatest babyface ever. But
right.
because of his WWF run, I can't imagine him ever as a baby. When he was a babyface as the manager for the Steiners in WCW in like '97,
Hmm.
I never bought it, never one time. He
And
was just such a
and
great natural heel in WWF that that's just who he was to me all the time.
conversely, I don't have to tell you, who's a big AWA guy, that Rick Martel was an amazing babyface. They never
Oh
should,
yeah,
the WWE just couldn't figure out how to make a babyface because they couldn't get over the fact he had an accent.
right. I loved him in AWA. He was one of my very first loves in AWA.
Yeah.
And it's sad because I loved his model character because of what he was in AWA. I might be the only person on the planet that actually loved his model character.
No, I did, but I still think, he's, when it comes to like a fiery babyface, he's one of the prototypes for it.
Right. His Can-Am connection and all that was you could see where he had that fiery babyface stuff.
Yep, exactly. And when I watch, like old AWA, like you see it like immediately. Like
Oh yeah.
he'll come in, he's pumping those fists and he's ready to go and gets the crowd behind him like right away.
Well, that's
There's a reason he was one of the last AWA world champions.
well, and like even Hogan as a heel when he was in AWA was amazing. I mean, he wasn't really a face until the whole Hulkamania thing happened. I mean, when he even first came in WWF, he was a heel.
Yep.
It's just Vince saw, the potential, so he turned him face, and Hulkamania was born, and the rest is history. But when he was in AWA, when he was first came in WWF, he was a heel.
Right.
So him as a heel was to us longtime fans wasn't super surprising, but that he was able to pull it off. But I can see for the casual fans that just became fans in the mid '80s why it was so big of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, and it was also a big deal just because he was a major marketing machine, and um, he had been telling people for years to train, say your prayer, eat your vitamins, believe in yourself, and then he turns to the side of evil.
Right. Yeah.
Although you can do all those things and still be a bad guy.
Well, yeah. I mean, bad guys
I
need
mean,
their vitamins too.
and MJF certainly believes it himself.
Right. Exactly.
Wow, they're just stomping the hell out of Trent.
Yeah. And who is that? Ortiz?
That's Ortiz,
What the hell happened to his head? Why does he have so much hair now?
or is that Santana?
No, because
It's
Santana.
Santana. Yeah, it's Santana.
Yeah, but he doesn't have that huge ass afro.
No, Ortiz. No,
Which one has the
Ortiz.
afro? Ortiz has the afro.
Ortiz had the afro, but now he's been had it in dreads for a month or two now.
Okay, but why does Santana have so much hair now?
I don't know.
I don't like this. They need to cut their hair.
He went to hair club for men. What do you want me to tell you?
I get it. It's COVID and you can't get into a barber, but come on, guys. There's got to be somebody in the AEW roster that knows how to cut hair.
Gots to be. Man, I wish we were getting the Acclaim versus the Bad Influence.
Isn't that going to happen this week?
No, it's the Acclaim versus versus SCU.
Well, you know what I mean, though.
But you know what? But I'm trying to tell you what I mean. That I wish it was the back when Daniels and Kazarian were the Bad Influence, and I could enjoy them on a week to week basis because they were doing this crazy, you know, inappropriate shit.
Yeah, back when they were still in TNA, is what you're
But
saying.
they, yeah, well, they were, yeah, but it wasn't just that they were in TNA; is the characters that they were at the time. You
And
know, I,
it was what they became the addiction in Ring of Honor.
and they were great that way too. But I have not liked them since they became SCU. You know,
Yeah, they just don't
or,
have
I-
the
or,
same
or I
spark.
should say, since they became popular as SCU. You know,
Oh,
heels as SCU, they were still great.
I
You
did
know,
love their little storyline about if they don't win, they're losing their contracts and they don't change their ways and everything. That was a great storyline.
until they left anyway.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I wish they could have played it out a little bit more, but
Yeah,
that was a pretty good storyline in Ring of Honor.
yeah, because they
Well
won
done.
because they won and they were able to
Do
stay
you want
together, but then they left the
those?
company anyway.
Okay, put them on the counter. Daddy will eat these.
Yeah, I was talking about earlier about Ring of Honor and how much I've enjoyed it lately. But one thing about it did confuse me this week when they were talking. I should say this week, but on the December 4th episode, when they were talking. There was a
Hmm.
there was a pure not a pure title match, but a pure division match between
Not in the flash.
Tracy Williams and the former pure champion John Walter, and
Put this
um
on the counter.
and Flip Gordon was joining them for commentary, and they said that Flip Gordon was wrestling Jonathan Gresham for the pure title at Final Battle, which of course we already knew,
Hmm.
but that he was also the top contender for the world title. And I was thinking, well, if he's the top contender for the world title, then why isn't he wrestling for the world title at Final Battle? you know, why did they have Brody King win like a mini tournament um, on Ring of Honor TV to get the title shot at Roosh if there was already a top contender in Flip Gordon.
Right.
Yeah, I just thought it was weird. 5 second pose, Jeff.
What?
5 second pose.
Who's doing a 5 second pose? Did I miss something?
Sammy and Jericho were doing a 5 second pose in the ring.
Okay, that's amazing.
They didn't say 5 second pose, but they were doing a pose with each other.
That's one of my favorite things ever.
Well, yeah,
Easily one of my favorite gimmicks ever.
of course it is. It was awesome.
Especially
It
when they
re-
came out dressed like Elvis.
it reeked of awesomeness.
That it did. I just remember them coming out in Memphis dressed like Elvis.
Yeah, they
One of
did.
the greatest 5 second poses ever.
Yeah, but Elvis sucks. So, um,
Ouch. But what does Elvis suck?
never been a fan, never will be a fan. He's just a honky tonk man wannabe.
That's fine, but he had a hell of a voice.
Honky tonk man? Yeah, I agree.
Wow. I mean, the fact that Elvis never wrote his own music is one thing, but he did have a hell of a voice.
I never enjoyed anything he did.
Really?
Really.
It's kind of weird to me. I mean, like,
Maybe it's because there was just so much hype behind him. As I was, even he died like I think the same year I was born, and and
74,
you know,
yeah.
and and even though and then like even years later, like that's all you heard about sometimes was Elvis, and it's just like, yeah, no, thank you.
I don't know. I mean, Kentucky Rain is still one of my favorite songs of all time. In the Ghetto is another one of my favorites of all time.
I like November Rain.
Which one?
Guns N' Roses.
Ick.
What do you mean, which one?
There's two of them. That was a remake, dude.
No.
Yeah, it was. Look it up. I can't because right now I'm outside smoking. So
Thought you quit again.
I yeah my full plan is to quit by the end of this year. But I'm not kidding. November Rain is a remake.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. It's not an original Guns N' Roses song.
November Rain is a song by the American hard rock band Guns N' Roses, written by the band's lead vocalist Axl Rose.
Lies. Which was the one that there? No, then they did a remake. Which one was it? I thought it was
Patient,
November Rain.
Patience was a remake.
Yeah, I knew that, but I thought November Rain was too.
No. Knocking on Heaven's Door was a remake. And then they did Spaghetti Incident, which is like a whole album full of remakes.
Yeah, fair enough. Which
You know, but
was
no,
terrible.
November Rain was originally done by Guns N' Roses.
Seriously, I always thought my entire life I thought that was a remake.
Sorry,
My life has been ruined.
your life's a remake.
My childhood is just a lie at this point.
Okay, I'm
Oh,
looking now. I'm
Top
looking
Flight,
up
that's who they are.
now. I'm looking at best covers of Guns N' Roses November Rain just to see who else has done it. Nobody I've ever heard of so far. Yeah, I never heard of any of the people that did the top 7 covers of November Rain. Speaking of which, Ryan Adams has a new album out, and I was listening to that
Brian Adams is
before
still
we,
alive?
huh?
Brian Adams is still alive?
Ryan Adams, yes,
Oh,
Ryan.
Ryan. Okay, I was thinking
Yeah,
Brian, like summer of '69 Brian.
I think that guy's still alive too. But no, this is Ryan Adams, and he years ago with his band Ryan Adams and the Cardinals, they did a remake of Wonderwall,
Oh, wow. That
and he's got another remake of Wonderwall on his new album that's really like a haunting, slow-paced version of it. It's really weird.
really?
So
How
yeah,
could Wonderwall be even slower than it was?
listen to it, man. It's
Wonderwall
on
had the
it's
longest
on his
intro I've ever heard in my entire life. It was like a 40-second intro.
it's on his brand new album Wednesdays. So
You know I'm never going to remember that.
you should remember everything I say to you.
Were you talking?
I'm pretty sure you swore after you realized how right it was about Arrow that you listen to everything I said and do everything I tell you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Is this is that Rebby?
I guess so.
I wish she would wrestle occasionally. She's like probably the hottest woman in AEW behind Anna Jay.
Who Rebel is?
Yeah, and all she is a lackey.
Yeah.
Really, Britt? It's not like you're beautiful.
Wow, Britt.
I mean, Britt's got kind of a horse face.
Yes, she does.
I mean, she's almost Sarah Jessica Parker-ish.
Yeah, I've never really thought she was attractive. Hey, it's SCU.
Yeah, I wish it was Bad Influence.
Yeah, me too. But when I said that, you were like, "Well, we are getting them tonight."
Yeah, I know. They're just not the same. I mean, they were hysterical in
Exactly.
TNA. I didn't even like them when they became the Addiction in Ring of Honor. I didn't think they had the same.
I think they were good as the addiction. It's just ever since ever since basically they started getting over and turning face as SCU, I have not cared for them. I know we're in the minority on that, but it's just the way I felt.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I think the last time I really, really liked them was Frankie's fake bullet turn. Bullet club turn
That led to
that led to the
Christopher Daniels winning the world title.
yep. And I think that was probably the last time I really liked them.
Okay.
I mean, I did kind of like their shenanigans when Ring of Honor was threatening to fire them and not renew their contracts and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But it was nowhere near what they had before that.
No.
But by then they'd added Scorpio Sky, so they were no longer the addiction, they were SCU. So,
Correct.
and I do like Scorpio Sky, but I get where you come from when you call him like babyface number 17, because he's really nothing. It's weird because as good as he can be, he is not that entertaining. There's nothing about him that screams, stare at me, look at me, watch me.
No, he's very athletic, and and he's charismatic, and he's exciting. But what does he do that's better than anybody else out there, or that's different than anybody else out there? To me, it isn't anything.
And
You know.
athletic in today's wrestling doesn't mean anything.
Right.
I mean, if you would have called him athletic 20 years ago, that would have been a whole different issue. But
That's
now,
very true.
in 2020, athletic doesn't mean shit. That's just a standard wrestler now.
Yeah. And when I say athletic, I don't mean he's not on the same level as guys like Hiromu Takahashi
Or Pack
or
even.
Will Ospreay or Pac or um, Ricochet. He's
Right.
just not on that same level
No, I
as
mean
them.
he's a
Or Ray Phoenix.
he's a
So
standard athletic guy.
yeah.
It's nothing really to write home about. All right, hold on a second. I gotta plug my phone in and figure out a different way to finish watching this. So talk for a bit.
No, we had a nice little Braun commercial going on. I don't remember the last time I even thought about Braun as a shaver brand, much less saw a commercial about it. That's really interesting. Um, Me personally, I use the I can't even think of it now, but I use a it's a regular razor, and it's got a really nice contouring, and it has like a little flex to it, so I should get a nice close shave with. It's Harry's razor that I use. That's the one. Oh, and now we got the acclaimed. I don't think I've ever seen the acclaimed even wrestle before. I mean, they've been on here a few times, in promos, but I've never actually seen them in a match. So it's going to be nice to see. It's kind of a little bit of a throwback thing going on here.
What are we throwing back?
I'm saying these guys are like kind of like a throwback.
Which guys? Not on there yet.
You don't have the acclaimed on your screen yet?
No. Phone died, so I had to figure out a different way to.
Okay.
Since my child is still in control of my TV. And I don't know that I like the acclaim.
You got your
Well,
fake
we've never
gold
even seen him
chain
wrestle
and you're
before,
out
have we?
here dissing?
What's that?
Are you the
We've never seen him
acclaimed
wrestle
or have you
before, have
been
we?
on a mission?
No, I just don't like the whole rapping thing.
Oh.
You're trying to drop rhymes, you're trying to make hits, just like the
Well,
year 2020.
I'm one of the people that thought John
whole
Cena should
thing
have
was
kept
the
doing
shit.
that for a long time rather than being turned into a babyface
Bliss and Green Boys,
generic
I'ma give you a
babyface type of guy.
pass.
So
'Cause Kaz and
it's kind of nice
Steve
for me to
got
see
to
somebody else
beat your
doing it.
dumb ass.
Although Frankie
In
spits
case you're
some
wondering,
rhymes,
this is
not too bad.
AEW Dynamite, not the morning show.
No, it's not too bad.
As Max Caster, Anthony Bowens
And it's nice to see Frankie
setting up
get
to
some
take
time
on
to
SCU, Frankie Kazarian, and Anthony Bowens, the five-tool player, starting things off.
Oh, was a great baseball player in college, very athletic. You get that five-tool name from his baseball prowess. Plus, he's a two-time
five-tool
Big
player.
East academic all-star.
Why would
Anthony
it?
Bowens, really, we've gotten a lot of great
Why would
looks
it
at
be the
him on
morning show? I didn't
AEW Dark
understand
every
that comment
Tuesday
by-
on
I'm
YouTube.
way ahead of you
He
then.
has
Is it because he said
continued
ass?
to
Is that
grow
why?
Probably.
week by week. But right now, getting caught by Kazarian.
Wait, you got ahead of me. You said you weren't even at where I was at before. Now you got ahead of me somehow.
Because I started watching on a different app.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, that was cool.
To go to
That was a cool
Thing
little
with these veterans,
catch into the Northern
the
Lights.
Acclaim will be earning a lot of points in their favor.
Well, I
To
mean,
beat
if this
these
dude got the
veterans,
5-tool
this great
player
team
thing from being in
would be
baseball, he'd be in the majors right now.
miraculous
Because there's
at
not
this stage of their
5-tool
game.
players. There's not many
Well,
5-tool
the numbers
players.
are against them, and here's the numbers I'm
No,
talking
there's
about.
not.
Bowens and Castro combined experience, combined
Cover here by Christopher Daniels.
13 years.
And you're right. I mean, if he really was a
Daniels
high tool
combined
player, he would be in the
experience,
majors
49
making
years.
lots and lots of money.
A lot more
I mean,
money
that
than he's
says a
making
lot.
in AEW.
But
kidding.
Bowens,
And on the
Christopher Daniels took his eye off Anthony
Independence like
Bowens
he's
for
been
just a
for the
second.
last
Max
however long.
Caster now capitalizing on that.
Castor's father, the great tight end for the Jets and other
No,
NFL
I mean, if
teams.
you, I mean,
Rich
think
Castor.
how much money Ken
Two-time
Griffey
Pro
Jr. would be
Bowler.
making these
Remember
days.
Rich Caster?
What's
Played,
that? Sorry.
Super Bowl
I said, think how much money
winner.
Ken
He goes
Griffey
to
Jr.
great
would be making
athletic
these
stock.
days, or Barry Bonds would make these
That
days.
was a hell of a tight end, big and
Considering they
strong,
both
rugged.
retired like a decade
Those
ago.
kids to chip off
But
the
I'm
old
saying,
block
like,
to be
you know, they're 5-tool players, but think how much money they make these days in
Caster
today's days.
charging in.
Oh,
The drop
geez,
kick
guys,
takes him off his
barely
feet.
all-stars now are making 20 million a year.
Right.
SCU back in control of the Acclaimed.
I mean,
We saw
I
the
watch
Young
baseball
Bucks
now
looking
and I look
on
at
from
some of the players
ringside
that are there, and I'm
as the
just
Acclaimed were
blown
making their
away
entrance. It
these
was the
are
Acclaimed that
all-stars 'cause they don't hold a
that
candle
started this whole
to
thing
people like
between the
Griffey and
Bucks
Bonds
and then
Jose
SCU.
Canseco even.
Kazarian comes in over the top, leg drop, hooks the far leg.
I was a big fan of the Oakland
SCU
A's, so I really enjoyed Jose
contest.
Canseco, but I still have to
Doesn't
say
mean
that,
that's
you know, it
gonna
was
finish.
hilarious watching him
Takes 3 seconds.
ball
when he
off
got
his
traded to the Rangers and he had the ball bounce off his head into the stands for a
Bowens
home run.
charging
It
in.
was one of the greatest
Kazarian
things
takes
ever.
control of that left arm.
And then like a
That
couple of games later, he went out there and
wrist
pitched and
control.
blew his arm out.
Put
You
it
know,
on
the
the film.
Acclaimed, you mentioned them being on Dark. Excalibur, 7-match winning streak on Dark, making their debut here on Dynamite. And you
The
know,
Acclaimed have a 7-match winning
those
streak.
Big right hand from Kazarian.
Yeah, probably on
Drop
Dark.
Caster.
they have earned the fact that they have moved up in the standings, so to speak, and the ratings number 5.
You want what, Arlo?
Rank number 5 came out today.
Then why'd you dump it out
Ratings
if you
came
want
out
more?
today. Check them out. AEW.com. We're taking a quick break, but we're going to keep it right here in picture in picture.
How was it icky? You literally just poured it 10 minutes ago.
is for friendship.
This is incredibly thoughtful.
My turn.
That's
Oh, wait.
hilarious.
It's a charger. It's gonna power our friendship.
You know, the one thing I do like about Nick on Supernatural is the fact that they kept him around.
When they're this crispy
And he looks so much different than he did when he was Jacob on Lost.
I understand.
Would you Lego your
I'm sorry, who were we talking about?
Nick,
Robert Mondavi vowed to make a great wine for every American
Nick what?
table.
the guy named
That's
Nick.
exactly what he did.
He was Lucifer's vessel on Supernatural.
His spirit lives on in every
Oh,
battle
yeah.
of
You
Woodbridge
like-
by
you like
Robert
him, huh?
Mondavi.
I
From
do,
one
but
for all.
I'm glad that
time
when
will
they
come,
killed Lucifer,
Diana.
they kept him around.
This world is not yet ready.
Yeah, I was at first, and then when I saw the storyline he was doing, I was like, eh.
Oh, the serial killer. Yeah, the serial killer
Right.
storyline is
It was just time wasting stuff to me.
And I did notice, you know, there's been 2 episodes now in season 14 where it has nothing to do with, there's no hunting, there's no continuation of the big bad storyline.
HBO Max.
It's just
rated PG-13.
In this family,
a
everyone does their
drama
own laundry,
episode.
but they all do it a little
Right.
different.
Exactly.
Honestly,
You know, which
I had a couple Tide
it was
Pods and just
kind of
stuff
weird to
everything
me
in.
because
It
I'm not
works.
watching
And of course, everyone
a
thinks their
daytime
way is right.
soap opera.
I stood in
I'm
line for
watching
hours
a
to get
show
this.
where the whole reason
It
I'm
has to
watching
be
is
washed
because the
on
brothers are
delicate.
hunting.
has to be cold water. It's better for
I mean, I do like
Secret is,
how the
Tide
season ends. I
Pods,
do like what it builds
all
to,
works.
but and I know you haven't seen that yet, but I really
do it
feel
their
like the
way,
puzzle pieces
and
could have
I
been
get a break
done
from
in
the
a
law.
lot smoother
No matter
way
how
than
you
what they
watch.
were. You know, and
It's
that's
got to be Tide.
where I'm watching. I'm like,
I didn't order a
yeah,
pizza.
it just.
I know. But that Parker
I know
Season,
so
you know,
much for
and in
insurance.
season 15, I
That
feel
little
kind of the,
something
you know, season
Parker,
15 I
State
like
Farm
a
offers
lot. Like, there's maybe
everyone
only 2
surprisingly
episodes in
great
season
rates.
You're the
15 that
man,
I
man.
don't like. You know,
You want the real
so
deal?
Well, the
Like a
fact
good
that
neighbor,
there's any
State Farm is there.
episodes
This
in any of
world
the
is
seasons I
not
don't
yet
like. Because I
ready
remember
for all
telling
that
you
you will do.
season 10, how does this show just keep getting better?
right.
Like every episode it gets better, and then season 11 was such a letdown
Exclusively on
with Dickhead.
HBO Max, December 25th.
I don't
And
know.
all
I
the
think you're
family.
you're kind of painting that with I don't know, like
DC movies.
like with the rose colored glasses though too, where because for me like Supernatural dragged drugs for a bit, where it seemed like every episode was. You know. What, I think once they got going with the continuing story, that changed. So I mean, there was a time where, like every episode was
And they
the
just
monster of
got
the week
here.
type
They've got
variety,
7
you
wins
know,
in a row
somebody
on
would
Dark,
die,
which you can
they'd
watch on
get
our
there, somebody
YouTube
else
channel
would
every
die,
Tuesday night.
the third person would die, and
They're
then
looking to
they
make it
figure out
8,
what was
but
going
not
on
if
and
Frankie
solve,
Kazarian
and it
has
was just
anything to
like
say
it was
about
like
it.
very
One
repetitive.
step ahead, Frankie. That's just
I
being a
think the
veteran,
part that
knowing
I
the
hated was
ropes,
the
so to
fact that it
speak.
was so
Look
much
at this.
brother
Oh,
versus brother
nice.
drama.
DDT on Max
Yeah.
Caster.
When
Good job,
they were
Frankie.
trying
That's
to
great
get that mark
offense.
off
Using the ropes as
and
a
it got
as
to a
leverage.
point where I just because I mean it
Daniels
started
ready to
with
accept the
Sam
tag.
being pissy because of the angel
Anthony
thing,
Bowens tags in for the
and
acclaim.
then
Grabs the boot of Kazarian, drags him back
Dean
towards
being
center, but
pissy
Kazarian
because of the whole
knocks
Mark
him off and
thing. It
covers the
just it
distance
got to a
attack,
point where
and
it was
Chris
just like I just
Daniels
can't do this anymore. This drama
over the
is just too
midsection,
much.
and then just a clothesline. Nothing artful about it, but
Yeah,
completely effective.
I love how like the overriding story of Supernatural is basically angels are a
Body
bunch of
drop
dicks that don't
on
help anybody
Caster,
out.
and Anthony Bowens now
That is
beating the
something
right
I have
hand.
enjoyed.
The fallen angel.
Because if angels were
but he
like what
countered the
what they're
STO.
supposed to be,
Yes, sir.
like in like everyday like like religion and stuff like that, then Sam and Dean would never have been in a lot of the positions they were actually in.
Right.
Then the world would be in a lot better shape than it's actually in.
I mean, there's been some little stories that have made me laugh, like the fact that episode when they found I can't remember the dude, the the guy that was their computer expert from the bar that Joe worked at.
Yeah,
What the hell was his name?
I don't know.
But when they met him in heaven, and he's like, "You guys die a lot." And then we kind of actually got the story about how Death kept bringing him back because he thought it was funny, and then after Billy became Death, we found out it was because of some larger things, and God liked him, so he'd bring him back all the time. I just those kind of things that continue on through seasons make me laugh.
Yeah,
Ash, the guy's name
and
was Ash.
yeah, and I do like how we have these recurring characters that show up and they they make the show better, and you're happy to see them like Billy or Metatron,
Right.
people like that.
Well, and the one thing that I've noticed is even the big bads that continue to show up at some point redeem themselves, like Metatron when he sacrificed himself against Amara. And
Yep.
even Lucifer until he became the biggest big bad ever, and Michael had to kill him, had kind of redeemed himself during that season.
And look at Crowley.
Yeah, Crowley's another one. He was, but then again, Crowley. I mean, the first time we met him, he was helping out the Winchesters because he was trying to get them to kill Lucifer for him.
Right, but did you ever think he'd actually die to save Mary?
That really did kind of throw me off.
Yeah.
But I kind of understood it a little bit because in his little monologue to Lucifer, he was talking about how, he knows um, that he's never going to be as powerful as Lucifer, but this is one way to get back at him, is trapping him in Apocalypse world.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I mean, it did make sense.
The Bucks looking mad stifled. The Acclaim, yo, we won the tag titles. I'ma say this and I'll put it on the Bible. You act like girls who are on their cycle.
Yeah, see, I'm not a fan of this gimmick.
The title got you feeling like a cock. Yo, I think that you should duck. Shooting on you losers. I don't give a.
I mean, it was cool in 2000.
He's pretty bad.
It was cool in 2005 when Cena was doing it. It's just not. I don't know. It's just
I think
not
no, I
hitting
think
with
it'd
me.
be a good gimmick if he was actually good at it, and maybe the idea is for him to intentionally be bad at it. I don't know, but
But I mean, he even just pulled the John Cena thing where he's about to say the bad word, but he doesn't.
yeah.
It was, like I said, it was a cool gimmick back in 2005. It's not a cool gimmick anymore, and it's annoying to me.
I guess I have to see it more to see if he's intentionally doing bad rapping. Because if he's intentionally doing it bad, then it's different than Cena did. Then it's maybe it could work well.
Yeah, true. It's nice to see SCU put over a tag team though.
Yeah, it is.
Nice to see somebody in the company that's an old veteran putting over the young guys.
On MJF and Chris Jericho.
I want you to listen to those two names you just mentioned. Chris Jericho, first
Be
ballot
nice if
Hall
these
of
two
Famer.
had different haircuts.
MJF, AEW's hottest, youngest star.
Whoa, that is until we got signed.
Touche. See, we know all about you, but you guys didn't know a lot about us beforehand. You found out tonight. In fact, I think we might have hidden you guys so hard that you forgot our names. So in case you did, my name is Darius.
And I'm Dante, and we are the coldest team in the game.
And just so you don't forget it,
Coldest team?
next week we're going to be challenging you to a match
Apparently.
right here on Dynamite. Top Flight versus MJF and Chris Jericho. You two can either accept, or you can run away like two little bitches.
What's it gonna be?
Okay.
Back
never
to you
should have
guys.
talked. I like
Thanks,
that.
Dustin. Great job.
Ooh, weren't we speaking to her earlier today?
We were.
I guess I didn't know she was signed by AEW. How did I miss that?
You didn't. I don't know. I think it happened a few weeks ago.
The hell's that one? Who's her partner?
Diamante.
Oh, I was hoping it was. Ugh.
She was like a bit of a Tessa Blanchard clone, doesn't she?
Yeah.
There's your girl, Big Swole.
Vicious Vixens? That's
Yeah,
what they're
that's
calling them?
That's Vicky and Nyla Rose. Yeah. So now we've got two superstars in AEW whose wives are expecting.
Who's the other one?
We found out about John Moxley and Renee a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
And tonight we found out about Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes.
Oh, must miss that.
You didn't see that little that hallmark moment between the two of them where
It's Cody. I ignore when Cody's on TV.
Okay, yeah. So Brandy is apparently pregnant now.
And it makes me sad because there was a time when I thought Cody was one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah.
It's just I hate his non-heel, but I'm a heel character. I'm not a fan of it.
No, I don't. I really would like them to kind of. I don't know. I don't know what to think about the Sting stuff going on. You know.
No, and that's getting like
I
said on Sunday.
And I really don't think that Sting needs to be involved in a situation where Sting is backing him up. I don't understand. Why Sting would back up Cody Rhodes all the time like this.
Well, and like I said, that whole promo that he cut last week was confusing. It's like he was there for Darby, but no, he's really there for Cody. It just didn't make any sense. And this week just made it make less sense.
Agreed.
And please don't take Big Swollen because I just don't want to see that.
Yes, you do.
No, I could live without it. Serena Deeb and Evilise, I'll watch all day long.
You wish it was Big Swole team with Big Swole against Big Swole and Big Swole.
Only if Bianca Belair is in their corner. But these two I could watch all day long.
Serena Deeb and Evilise?
Oh, yeah. I wonder if they ever let Evilise shine like she did in Lucha Underground.
I wish they hadn't released B. Priestley.
Yeah, but I see why they did because I don't think she was actually ever really under contract. And with her being stuck in England, where it was different with Pac because Pac was under a multi-year contract.
Yeah, it could be. I thought it was because more of that. I thought it was because of that speaking out bullshit.
Was B involved in that?
Yeah, she was.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, supposedly she was holding down other female talent.
Oh my God. There got to a point when I started reading stories and was just like, come on, that I just tuned that whole thing out. I mean, it
Yeah.
is what it is. It's great, people speaking out because they felt bad and everything. But I think the way that companies reacted when they read the stories that they saw, especially after I started reading the stories, and I was
Yeah.
just like, that was just a guy who was heartbroken. That wasn't he wasn't holding you down. Really? You just dumped the other one out. It was not yucky. You literally just got it in your cup. Then stop sticking stuff in it. Put it on the counter.
Hey Jeff, you know you're talking about cutting expenses.
Yeah.
That might be a way to cut expenses too.
Hey,
Stop throwing food away.
he's drinking. It was water.
Oh, okay.
It's if it was real food, we would have had an issue. Because
Gotcha.
I don't throw any food away ever. Here, put that away. I'm one of those weird freaks where if I put any, if I throw any food away, I kind of cry a little bit.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, do you like if you keep leftovers? Do you always make sure you eat the leftovers, or do you sometimes have to throw them away because they rotted?
If I don't eat them in time, I freeze them.
Oh, okay.
Put them into like single serve Tupperware and freeze them.
Gotcha.
Like when I use my smoker, I'll keep it in the fridge for a few days, and then once I know I'm not going to eat anymore, or after like 2 days, I'll serve things and freeze them. I've got brisket, and I don't know what just happened, but my Skype just told me it stopped recording and then started recording again.
Yeah, you got like really loud for just like a second, and then you went back to then you were like, well, wait a second, and then you went back to your normal voice. So
Well,
I
that's
don't know what
weird
happened there.
because it shut off my Skype. It said it finished, and then it started recording again, and then it said it finished again, and now it's recording again.
I never actually lost you, so good.
Oh, great. This episode's going to take forever to fucking edit.
Wasn't it only like 2 weeks ago that Equalizer was on like right before Dynamite, and they did it again tonight?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird.
Well, I mean, come on. Oh, my God, I just drew a blank on, and it just finished recording again.
Denzel.
Yeah. It's saying recording finished again. What the hell
Cool.
is happening here?
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to figure out how to load this episode from YouTube. Imp, you're gonna have to help me out here.
And this week coming up, I'm gonna have to get some time in to watch Die Hard and Die Hard 2.
Well, yeah.
The two greatest Christmas movies of all time.
Right. No, only the first one was a Christmas movie. I don't think the second one was.
How do you figure that?
Because it wasn't held at Christmas.
Yes, it was.
Was it?
Yeah, it's exactly a year later. The third and the fourth and the fifth ones are not on Christmas, but the first two are.
Oh. I haven't seen Die Hard 2 in so long that.
My three favorite Christmas movies are Die Hard, Die Hard 2, Die Harder, and Scrooge.
Scrooge.
Yeah. I love that.
The Bill Murray Scrooge? The Scrooge?
No, that's Scrooge. No, Scrooge from 1970 with Albert Finney and Sir Alec Guinness in it.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
And it's a musical version.
Why
You never seen
did
that?
this stop recording? What the hell is happening here?
You never seen that movie?
No, that one I haven't.
Yeah, there's a great scene in there where it's during the Ghost of Christmas Future part.
Okay.
Where Ebenezer comes out and there's a guy that's dancing on the coffin. He's like, "Thank you very much, thank you very much. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me." And it turns out that Scrooge dying has been the best thing to happen to the entire town because they get to rip up all the the bills from the money that they owed him.
Oh my God. Okay, that sounds entertaining.
It is. It's really great. So I highly recommend it. And I found it streaming for free last night on a service. I'm not exactly sure what service, but I googled it and looked it up, and it is available to watch for free on a streaming service. So
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. That just sounds like fun.
yeah, it is. I think it's funny when people argue with me that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie because Home Alone is basically the child version of Die Hard.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Die Hard, like you said, was held on at Christmas.
Right.
Why would it not be a Christmas movie?
It's about a guy trying to get home to his family on Christmas. I mean, and do you know what song plays over the closing credits of both Die Hard and Die Hard 2?
What's that?
Let It Snow.
Oh,
And of course, it has a classic line in it. I've got a machine gun. Ho ho ho. All right.
Diamante is kind of awkward.
She is. I really enjoy both Eva Lise and Serena Deeb, though.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like I said, I could watch these two all night.
Yeah.
Okay, I might be behind you, but that neck breaker on the rope looks sick.
Stereo knees to the side of the head of Serena Deeb. Now Eva Lise and Diamante planning the NWA Women's World Champion center of
Or am
the
I ahead of you? Yeah, I'm behind you because they just put the figure 4 on.
Diamante, the incredulous look on her face, like I can't believe I didn't get it, or I can't believe ref didn't count to 3.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Diamante moves very awkwardly out there.
She reminds me of I can't think of who it is. Natalia.
John Cena.
No, Natalia. With just like the body type. Like Natalia is
Yeah.
an awkward body type where she like her legs go up to the second rope, but then her torso doesn't go over the top rope.
Yeah, that's true.
And Diamante has that same kind of look to her. It's
Yeah.
like just
I
such a short torso.
Yeah, I mean, as great as John Cena became, and as much as I enjoy his matches, you can't argue that he's a very awkward athlete.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. And I think I might have had a little more love for John Cena because I remember watching this. It was some tour of the Indies where it was a weekly
Oh,
show.
that could have really hurt somebody right there.
Which
Sorry, go
one?
ahead.
Which one? Which
Oh,
move?
a really sloppy double underhook power bomb by
Yeah,
Big Swall.
yeah, that looked ugly. Um, but there was this. I can't remember what it was, but it was like uh, they every week they had a show. It was about indie wrestling, and I remember. Don't. That's why your water's icky. Don't
What
put
do you
that in
do?
there.
What do you
I
do?
don't care. Don't put that in there. He's got these beads that he got at from different parades throughout the years, like like a big box of them because we've collected them so many of them,
Okay.
and he was just dunking them in his water.
Oh,
But
what's that gonna hurt?
what was the and it was this indie wrestling show that I was watching, and at the end of the episode, they were talking about WWE was there in attendance and scouting and wanted to talk to 3 of the wrestlers. And one of the wrestlers on the show that was like the main event draw for that indie promotion was
Hmm.
a wrestler called the Prototype, which was John Cena.
Right.
So, I saw that episode 5 years before John Cena debuted in WWE, so I kind of had an ingrown liking for him at that point. Um, and I mean, I know his character was vanilla and just disgusting, but there were parts of his promo work and his match work that I always enjoyed. Like
He
I
was
always
also he was also on Beyond the Mat in that character.
Maybe that's what the show I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that was that movie that they did, backstage with
Oh no.
WWE and ECW and the Terry Funk retirement thing, and they talked to Jake Roberts, but they also
Okay.
talked to the guy that was running the power plant out, or not the power plant, but this thing out in California, and where they showed the prototype there before he became John Cena.
Well, I know he
So
was the prototype all the way through FCW. He didn't become prototype or John Cena until he made the main roster.
I know, but I'm talking about back in California, he was the prototype there.
Right. Yeah, I mean and it wasn't Beyond the Mat because Beyond the Mat was that movie. This was before Beyond the Mat. This was before he was even mainstream. It was some indie promotion in Boston that he was working.
That's what I'm saying. He wasn't mainstream at the time, but he was on Beyond the Map, and they were talking about how the prototype was one of the up and coming guys that they were promoting.
But wasn't he already working for WWE in their developmental when Beyond the Mat came out?
No,
Oh, I thought he was.
well maybe when it came out he was, but not when it was filmed.
Because I know he was the prototype all the way through his developmental, and then he became John Cena once he made the main roster.
Yeah, but Beyond the Map came out what in '99 or 2000.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Cena.
so I suppose he probably was in WWE developmental when Beyond the Mat came out, but not necessarily when it was filmed.
Yeah,
You
true.
know,
Because I mean, that class there was Orton, Batista, Lesnar, and Cena, wasn't it? They were all in FCW at the same time and all debuted within a year of each other.
John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, Brock Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin, and Charlie Haas.
Okay, they were both in that too.
They were all in it too. Yeah,
God, you look at that. That's just four of them are Hall
the
of
great.
Famers, and
It's the greatest class of all time.
yeah, four of them are WWE Hall of Famers, um, and the other two should have been, but they weren't there long enough.
Right.
What is this? What is with FTR?
They're pissed off at Jurassic Express.
So they went from feuding with the Bucks to feuding with Jurassic Express?
Yeah, because remember what happened at the end of their match last week, where they kind of got each other's faces.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm definitely behind you because I'm still listening to FTR yell at the announcers.
Evil Uno versus Dustin Rhodes next week.
Interesting. So Evil Uno is actually going to finally wrestle again? I don't think
Yep,
he's wrestled in a year.
and we get Pact versus Butcher next week too.
Eh. Next week looks like it's going to be a pretty good show.
Yeah, it does, but but who knows what time it's going to actually be on?
Oh, that's right, because it's preempted because of the end of NBA,
Yeah, it's going to follow Celtics versus Bucks.
which
So
I'm not mad at, except for the fact that it's preseason Celtics versus Bucks, and they're preempting AEW for preseason basketball.
it's probably have a contract. Wait, that's right. It's okay. So I was
So
thinking it was a tag
is this New
match.
Year's Smash? Is that the Jericho Cruise?
Um, I don't think so,
Because wasn't isn't the Jericho Cruise the last couple of years been in January? The rock and roll whatever.
but I don't think they're having it this year because of COVID.
Oh, I suppose probably. Because it's like some rock and comedy and wrestling festival or something like that he has on the cruise ship.
Exactly.
Oh,
This is just a weird match.
how is this a main event?
It's got the world champion in it
But it's Joey Janela.
and the world champion.
Ugh. But seriously, sorry, it doesn't look like a main
And it,
event caliber match. I mean, maybe when Joey Janela first debuted and he had his match against Moxley and all that, but they've done a good job of beating Janela down over the last year and a half.
yeah, they have. By the way, I don't know that your what you were saying about Impact and AEW being a one-off is true because Kenny Omega also appeared at on that AW on that Impact show of this past Saturday night as well.
Well, I mean, I'd heard rumors that the Good Brothers might get involved,
Okay,
but the fact that there was nothing involving the two of them this week kind of makes me more feel like it might have been a one-off.
but it wasn't. It was at least a two-off, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because Omega showed up at the thing on Saturday,
But then why not have any kind of crossover this week?
and this is Kenny Omega's set for the Impact pay-per-view right here.
All right, yeah, you're ahead of me. So,
No, I'm looking. I'm seeing. I just googled it to see.
so then it really is that AEW is not going to benefit. It's just Impact that's benefiting because there's nothing about Impact on Dynamite for now, what, 2 weeks in a row?
Right. So on Impact, so an Impact's Hard to Kill pay-per-view, Kenny Omega will team with the Good Brothers against Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns.
Didn't the Good Brothers leave before Kenny was really before Kenny was the leader of Bullet Club?
Before he was the leader, but he was still, but they were in there when
They were members together
they were members of the together. Yeah.
when AJ was leading it.
Right. And so with that six-man match, that also means that the Impact World Title and the Impact World Tag Titles will not be defended on that pay-per-view.
Wow, that's a horrible waste of. What is wrong with their booking? I mean,
A lot.
it just their booking has gotten so bad. Like it was so good there for a while, even though there was too much ECW talent. But now it's just, do they just not have the talent to book properly?
I think that probably is a lot of it. Yeah.
But you would still think that they would at least be able to throw together a couple of decent ass storylines.
And maybe they are, but to not have your top two titles defended on the show is kind of wah wah. You know,
Right.
when I buy a pay per view, I expect to see a world title match.
Well, or at least, I mean, yeah, occasionally they have pay-per-views where the heavyweight champions in a tag team match, a grudge tag team match. But are they really going to let Kenny Omega lose on Impact?
Probably not.
So
And if
here,
and if, and if they do, it'll be to set up Kenny versus Rich Swann at a later pay per view.
in which Kenny won't lose.
Right.
I just don't see how they're benefiting themselves by making their world championship look like such a joke because Kenny Omega is just that much better.
Agreed. I don't know how this is benefiting Impact other than maybe drawing the eyes. You know.
But what are they drawing them to? Oh, our championship is a joke because the AEW champion just came in and destroyed us.
Right.
And then not having any half-ass decent storylines or anything like that. Like you said, I mean, you're drawing eyes there because of Kenny and the AEW, world champion being there. But when your top two titles aren't being defended, it doesn't make sense. I mean, and there was a time we could have argued that the Impact or the X Division Championship was the top title, but not anymore. I don't even know who the X Division champion is.
Rajit Raju or
What?
Ramit Raju.
Isn't one of these chicks like not Kenny's daughter, but some Don Callis's daughter?
Maybe I have no idea.
I thought I heard that somewhere that one of his dancing sweepers was somebody's daughter. Like
I have no
I
idea.
thought it might have been Don Callis's daughter or something.
Why don't you Google it, Jeff? Because I have no idea.
I kind of don't
So,
want to because I don't care that much. It was just a passing thought that I thought I might have heard. Oh, there you go. Because
yeah. So Rajit is the X Division champion.
are y'all done? Is it still
Yes.
icky now?
Oh damn!
Yeah, you're ahead of me, so I don't know what's going on.
Guitar crush onto a chair.
Oh. Okay. Silly.
Terminator, clap
In
him.
a
Nail him.
box. All right, we'll work on that, okay? Okay, Arlo. Yeah, I just got to that Kataro Crusher. Oh, oh my God, that looked painful.
Yeah. Kenny's been doing that like suction cup treatment to his back.
Yeah, I saw that.
Haven't seen that for a while. I mean, I saw I saw Osprey do that a while back, but I haven't seen it
I've
for a couple of
I've
years now. I
never
don't
seen
think.
it. I've never seen it anywhere except in Japan. And it
Right.
makes sense because Kenny was, face of Japan for a while.
I know, but I haven't seen it anywhere for a couple of years, and now it's on prominently on Kenny on national television.
Okay. And we're probably the only two people on the planet that are noticing it.
Probably not.
Because it's not that, like, I mean, when I've seen it in Japan, it's like they just pulled the cups off as they were walking to the ring.
And it's all over the body, not just in 4 spots on the back.
Right.
Yeah.
And now this doesn't, it's hardly even noticeable.
And once you can't, but once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, true. Okay, yeah, see now, why is this a main event?
Is this a
When he,
garbage match?
when he's able to cut a promo in the middle of a match.
I think it's just getting across him being a complete asshole these days.
Well, I mean, that's fine, but it's this could have been an opener or a mid card match. This is not a main event style match. This is
You
not what
don't
you
you
want to
don't
send.
you don't put the biggest star in the company in a mid card match, Jeff.
No, but if you're gonna have a squash match where he's cutting a promo in the middle, it just I don't know. I'm just not happy about this. I don't think this should have been a main event. Like if they want to put him as being an asshole, have him squash Janela and then cut the promo.
No, this is great the way it is.
I don't know. It feels to me more like they're burying Janela even more. Because now they're basically
Who
saying he
cares?
can't hang. Well, yeah.
Well, he can't.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't want to watch a match of a jobber against the main eventer in the main event. And let's face it, the way they've treated Janela over the last 2 years, he's a jobber.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
And that's just not a main event style match in today's world. That might have been in 1980.
Well, there you go. Now Janela got some offense in.
I haven't gotten that far yet. So I just got to the double stomp on the trash can.
Okay.
So I must have paused it a little bit too long.
How can there be no time limit?
Or TV time remaining? Didn't they say that?
Well, I think they just said no time limit just a minute ago, though.
Oh, Poison Rana.
Right hand between the eyes of the AEW World Champion. Don Callis looking a little concerned there. Yeah, and being very quiet right now.
Why is Don Callis looking concerned? Relax.
Joey Janela. Oh my God. Up to the top. Leg drop across the face of Omega.
I'm sorry. I don't care what kind of offense Janela gets in this. He's not coming out of this looking good.
Well, no, because you already made up your mind about the match 10 minutes ago.
Well, how was it? It doesn't matter what kind of offense he gets in at this point. He's coming across as a jobber.
Of course, it matters what kind of offense he gets in eventually.
Why? Because then we can say, oh, he has heart.
Yes.
Still, the V trigger is one of my favorite moves of all time.
Absolutely.
And I've never been like, you see Roman Reigns do a Superman punch 14 times a match, and you're like, ugh. But Omega, the way he does the V trigger, it never looks out of place, ever.
No.
It never looks like he's forced it into a match. It never looks like it's something that shouldn't have been there, and he just had to get his signature move in. It's every time he pulls it off, it's always at the perfect spot. He could do it 15 times a match, and it's always at the perfect spot.
Preaching to the choir, man.
But then again, I've been saying, telling people how lucky they are to have Kenny Omega on their TV every week for what, year and a half now. Even when he was going through his quote unquote dry spell, it's an amazing thing that you get to watch Kenny Omega every single week.
Yes, it is.
Because I don't care what anyone says, I still think, I mean, we can argue Osprey all day long, and I think Osprey maybe had better matches last year and even this year than Omega has consistently. But I can't say that there's anybody on the planet better than Kenny has been in the last 3 years.
No, and I've already told you, like, he's in, my favorite three singles matches of all time, and
Yep.
probably three of my four favorite tag title matches or tag matches of all time. So
Yeah, yeah.
so I mean it's hard for me not to have him as one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
And it's like, I think he's kind of like Okada. Like Okada is so good that we don't even think of him in that conversation.
Oh no, I always think of Kenny in that conversation.
Yeah, you're right. Kenny is in that conversation, but Okada, he was so good for so long and has been so good for so long that when we get down to best wrestlers of the year, it's kind of like Michael Jordan in the NBA. Eventually, it just got to a point where you never considered him as the MVP because he was just so fucking good.
Right.
So please explain to me, in layman's terms, how exactly you are the rightful champion. Wait, okay, hold on a second. Hawk, look, you're a hell of a talent, but I gotta ask you, did you get some sort of executive promotion while
Wait,
Kenny and I
what?
are making history? Because if you didn't, I'm gonna give you a little lesson in the wrestling business.
You know, I like Kenny as a promo guy, but I'm not mad at Don Callis being his promo guy.
No, I would like Don Callis being his promo guy.
I mean, I'm not one of those people that thinks Kenny is a horrible promo guy. There's a lot of people out there that do, but I've never been one of them. But I am definitely not mad at Don Callis taking the mouthpiece for him. Ooh.
Sweet.
So which one is he defending? The AEW title?
Yep, against Ray Phoenix 2 weeks from now.
But didn't he beat Ray Phoenix for the Triple A champion? And isn't he still the Triple A champion?
He is still the AAA champion as far as I know. But the point of it was that Ray Phoenix never actually lost in the tournament to decide who was going to be the
Yeah.
number one contender.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Because remember he beat
He did beat Pentagon, and then he got injured or
Pentagon, and then
whatever.
he had to forfeit due to injury. So since he never actually lost, Tony Khan is giving him kind of the same thing with how Kingston got the world title shot. He had never
Because he
actually got
never.
eliminated from the Battle Royal.
Right, exactly. And it's one thing that I am kind of a little disappointed is I don't feel like the Lucha Brothers, Kingston family storyline has been properly explained. Like I feel like there should have been a reason why they were with the Kingston family.
Yeah, and I really would like to see. I mean, once this is all settled, I really would like to see, like you said, that get fleshed out, and a feud between not just the family and the Death Triangle, but with Lance Archer mixed in there, but also with Kingston against his former best friend Pentagon.
Well, and see that's why I don't feel like it's been explained well enough is because they were talking about how they were best friends, and how could your best friend stab you in the back to go back to his former partner?
Right.
It felt like that story was just kind of dumped for no apparent reason.
No, I agree. I know exactly where you're coming from with that, and I really would like them to flesh it out. I wish they had more time to devote to that stuff instead of to the stuff that they do devote time to. You know,
Yeah, a jobber match
I'd
for the
much
main
rather see
event.
that than see
A jobber match for the main event.
like the well or that 12 man with the with Varsity Blondes and whoever else their partners were against um against the
Inner Circle.
inner circle.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that I've been disappointed with AEW on is I've never felt like their booking has been super great. I feel like they drop storylines too quick. I feel like I still feel like that Adam Page story that went on for like a year and a half and then just all of a sudden went away. And we've never really gotten the blow off between Kenny and Hangman.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they met in the finals, but it didn't feel like a special match. Like it should
No.
have. It should have felt. And that's my one complaint about AEW. I think they've got amazing talent. Actually, I've got a couple others. Cody gets too much face time, and um, I don't like the stop-start booking of some of the younger talent, where it's like the flavor of the month. Like there for a while, it was Scorpio Sky, then it was Jungle Boy, and then it was Orange Cassidy, and now who is it?
Right.
I don't like that. I think and Darby Allin was there for a while too. I think if you're gonna push somebody, see it through. Especially when you got a guy, you get these guys ridiculously over with the crowd, and then they're just back in a tag team. Like
And
Lucha.
and I and I and I really don't think that they need to do this inner circle having two segments every single week thing either.
No, I mean cut a promo or do a match, one or the other.
Yeah.
And uh,
And it feels like they're only on there just to get Jericho screen time.
sometimes, yeah. I mean, it doesn't feel like they're really pushing a Jericho versus MJF. Like I still feel like the whole Jericho versus MJF match was done way too quickly. I felt like that should have been pushed out for a while, and he should have had to go through the rest of the inner circle before he got to Jericho. Um, and I don't see where a payoff is coming because it doesn't feel like they're really building towards an MJF taking over the inner circle or anything like that.
No, but he does needle Jericho a little bit more every single week too.
Yeah, but
I think they're just laying, they're slow, and I'm not mad about that because I mean to me they are telling a long term story with that the way that you and I like being told a long term story.
but are they going to
You
do
know?
it like they did with the Hangman Page storyline where they just dropped it all of a sudden?
Well, time will tell, right?
I mean, because that
What's the most important step a man can take, Jeff?
one,
Huh?
the first one.
No, the next one, the next step.
Oh,
It's always the next step.
that was too deep for me. I mean, I definitely enjoy AEW. I think it's head and shoulders above pretty much everything else out there, next to NJPW, of course. But I just I I don't I still have problems with them having epic matches every single pay-per-view or every single week because it doesn't make a pay-per-view feel like something special. I have issue.
Did you think there was an epic match last week or this week? I didn't think so.
Not, but I mean, they gave time to their matches. It wasn't like a 5-minute match. It
What do
wasn't.
you don't want them to give time to their matches?
What I want them to do is not have world title matches on free TV.
Well,
I,
they're
w-
going to.
I know, but I want them to build to it. That's the one thing we've hated so much about, the WWF format with the 12 pay-per-views a year and WCW did the same thing is that they end up having the the three matches in a row because they don't give time to build a story. And when AEW came out and said we're only going to do 4 pay-per-views a year, I was like, oh great, we're going to get 3 month storytelling. And we're getting 2 week storytelling because Kenny wins the match and then 2 weeks later wrestles Moxley. And
Yeah.
now in 2 weeks he's going to wrestle Ray Phoenix. after we finally get, build the story for a little bit.
Yeah, I think they just need to learn. They just need to learn how to layer. They actually could do both. I mean, because even back when WWE did that, or I should say WWF did that, where they had 4 or 5 pay-per-views of the year. They also had every 6 weeks they had those Saturday Night main events with big main event matches too.
But those
You know,
big main event matches were like, when they were building towards WrestleMania 3, it was Hogan and Savage versus DiBiase and Andre, or not, Hogan and Savage, like Hogan and whoever versus DiBiase and Andre. Um, it wasn't a big blow off between the two. Where AEW would have taken that and said, let's have Moxley versus Kenny Omega. The Back in the 80s when WWF was doing that, it would have been Moxley and tag team partner of his choice against Omega and Adam Page.
no, not always. I mean, because there was also plenty of times where like Hogan would be like defending the title against like um Sika or um, Hercules Hernandez or somebody like that.
Right,
You
but it
know,
wasn't the top dog. It wasn't
right?
the guy who's next in line for his title. It was just, hey, this guy, we're gonna have a title match, and it would be some mid Carter who they just threw up there for that one match.
Well, that's what I'm saying is they need to learn how to layer things better. Like like this, like as much as you and I love Ray Phoenix, he's not going to be at this point in his booking the top challenger for that title. So we
Yeah,
know he's getting that shot in 2 weeks, but he's not the prime challenger for Omega.
but that's the
So
problem
so
is,
so what they need to do is they need to have that match. It's okay for them to have that match, but they also need to be laying the seeds for what'll be the Revolution match.
right, which they should have started 2 weeks ago.
Agreed. I'm just saying that that's what I would like to see is them, as I don't have a problem with them having these once a month world title matches on TV, but I also would like them to do long-term booking towards what the big match is going to be.
Exactly, and I think that's where I was coming from. It's like it hasn't felt like yet we're booking for the Revolution pay-per-view. It feels like we're gonna wait until January before we start even thinking about that, where they should have started it the second that Full Gear ended.
Right. I mean, I do feel like they're booking some things towards the Revolution pay-per-view. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we end up with something between Jericho and MJF there, or we end up with something between maybe Pac and Eddie Kingston there, things like that. But I do think that they should be doing that more towards their championships as well.
Well, I remember listening to an episode of 83 Weeks, and when you think about how and why WCW got so good, is because they consistently went with multiple storylines being told. And they had an A storyline, a B, a C, a D, an E storyline, and they devoted time to whichever storyline was at the top, and then while they were building lower storylines.
Hmm.
So then when that A storyline was done, the B was right there to pick up the slack.
Sure.
And I don't feel like that's what's going on with AEW. It feels like they put all their focus on this one major storyline, but they rush it. And then once it's done 3 weeks from now, not a year like it should take, um, they've got nothing to go with afterwards. So they have to kind of like this would have been a perfect way to get that Page versus Kenny feud. Like if Page had come out and maybe attacked Kenny for doing his shit, his heel turn whatever thing, he could have been the biggest babyface. They could have been building for that match for Revolution, and they could have started it at Full Gear or at that winter, that Winter's Coming show they had.
Hmm.
Instead, we don't know what's going to happen with Kenny, who's your biggest champion, in 3 months at Revolution. Instead, we're going to get a one-off match against Ray Phoenix next week, and who knows if any, or in 2 weeks, and who knows if anything's going to come of that.
No,
When are
I
we going to
agree.
find out who the challenger for Omega is? Sorry, didn't mean to
No,
cut you
no,
off, but
no, no, that's fine. I mean, I think we're on the same page with that. But it's some, but it's Well, it is kind of a major thing. It's also not a major enough thing to make me just say, well, fuck AEW, that if they're not going to do that.
No, and I agree. I mean, I still enjoy their talent. I still enjoy. I feel like there's little tweaks they could make to make it great, and right now it's just below great. I think their talent level is there. I enjoy the matches they do. I just think there's a few little booking things they could do to make it better. But that's just me doing fantasy booking too. It's like if you look at all their champions, is there any direction any of them are going towards the next pay-per-view? Like we have the Bucks who have not really done anything since they won the titles except have a one-off match against TH2, and now they're going to face a team that had their very first match this week.
I guess the only champion where I'm looking and I can look in the future and see where I think I know where they're going is I think it probably will be Powerhouse Hobbs challenging for the TV title at Revolution.
Yeah, and even that didn't get any time this week. Was there any Darby Allin on this week?
Yeah, he was there in the stands during the Sting segment with Cody and um, uh, Team Taz or
Yeah,
Team FTW, whatever you want to call
yeah,
it.
but there
So
too. I mean, this is one of your champions, and he's not on the screen for more than
I
30
know.
seconds.
No, I agree, but I think he's going to go through. I think he's going to find a way to beat Brian Cage, and then he's going to defend against Ricky Starks and beat him again. But then the betrayal about with Willie Hobbs or Powerhouse Hobbs now is going to culminate at Revolution. Is what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Is
and that
is what I see in the future.
and that makes sense. But you're right. That's probably the only storyline that's actually building towards Revolution. I mean, none of our other champions are in anything that I'm looking at going, oh, the payoff's going to come at the next pay-per-view.
And if that's not what happens, then I think the other possibility with that is that we finally get the blood and guts match at Revolution with Cody, Darby Allin, and other people against Team FTW.
Yeah.
Maybe Kobe, Darby, Dustin, and Sting or something against Team FTW.
Well, there are four members of FTW now, aren't there? Because
There are
Hook,
because
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 Hook is
Taz's
there.
son Hook is there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
and that would be fine. I don't know. That's just that's one minor complaint. They still give us an entertaining show every single week, and I'm not mad at that. Um, so it's fine.
And
It's a lot more than I can say about other promotions where I don't feel like I get an entertaining show every single week.
but one show that I keep praising, like the last few times we talked, and is giving me an entertaining, exciting show every single week right
Is
now
Ring
is
of
Ring of
Honor.
Honor.
Yeah.
And I just want to point out to everybody again that they've got their first pay per view since February, and their last pay per view every year, Final Battle, coming up this coming Friday night. So, even though the biggest match on the card has now been had to be scrapped because of COVID, we're still talking about Roosh um, versus Brody King for the World Championship. We're still talking Dragon Lee will be defending his TV title probably against either Josh Woods or Shane Taylor. Um, we've got the tag titles being defended. We've got Jonathan Gresham defending the Pure Championship against Flip Gordon. We've got the Pure tag match with Tracy Williams and Rhett Titus taking on Fred Yehai and Wheeler Utah. I mean, we've got a great card from top to bottom this coming Friday night, even without that Jay Briscoe versus um, EC3 match. So I would really encourage people to at least watch the free hour that's going to be available on Honor Club, YouTube, and Fight TV. Look to see if it piques your interest, and then tune into that show because I cannot wait to watch it and talk about it next week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it too, and especially since next week we won't have AEW to talk about.
Yeah.
Because I'm not staying up till midnight. I'm just saying right now.
No, no, me
All right.
neither.
Well, guys, check out our Patreon. We'd really appreciate it. Patreon.com/Kingdom of Honor. Small donation gets you access to everything we've done since our debut back in 2014, and a little bigger of a donation gets you access to a lot of exclusive stuff we do specifically for Patreon. A lot of our pop culture stuff, some breakdowns of careers and pay-per-views throughout history is all up on patreon.com/Kingdom of Honor. If you're listening to us on YouTube, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and check out our Twitter. I'm at Regi Co-op. He's at ZanmanLOP. Use the hashtag KOH to find us.
And now that Jeff and I's busy time of the year is wrapping up shortly here, we'll be looking to get back into watching some Ring of Honor, some old school Ring of Honor, or to watching some ECW, or to doing our Deserted Island series stuff. Some of that stuff, maybe even some TNA Asylum years, and also I just want to also mention, because I don't know that we've mentioned it at all, much less lately, is that we do have our live three-man weave with Imp coming up the nights of Wrestle Kingdom. So January 4th, early morning, January 5th, early morning, we'll be talking about those two big shows coming up.
Well, it depends if I get the time off or not. I put
Well,
in
I
for it.
already
I haven't
did,
heard.
so I'm mandating that you do.
I put it in. I just haven't heard yet. So,
Wow,
it,
you said a while back. Your manager takes her sweet time, doesn't she?
it's because busy season for me doesn't technically end until the 7th of January,
Okay.
and we're really, really busy that first week in January. So it's all going to depend. I don't know. I'm looking at it, and it's what I want to do, especially that the 5th, because I definitely want to talk about that Jay White match right after it happens.
Yeah. So those of you who don't know, like there were Wrestle Kingdom again is a two-night event, and again the world title's on the line both nights, with Naito defending against Ibushi on night one in January 4th, and then the winner of that match facing the G1 Cup, not winner, but the holder of the briefcase, Jay White.
Have we seen Jay White versus Naito yet? I don't remember seeing that match.
Yeah, we have.
Have we?
Yeah, it was one of the best matches in 2019.
Okay, I don't know
For
why I
for
don't
for
remember
the
that
for the
match.
for the, for the Intercontinental
Oh,
Championship.
that's right. Yep, you're right. You're right. Because we saw it in that. It was the Wrestle Kingdom match. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
but
right.
it's also it was one of the best matches of 2019. And then they wrestled again at Wrestle Kingdom. So yeah, we've seen it twice in the
Okay.
last yearish or
I
so.
was I was for some reason I was drawing a blank because I know we've seen, you know, Jay White versus Coda. Um, and once I saw it, I was okay with never seeing it again. Um, but I for some reason I was drawing a blank on the Naito versus White. But you're right. We saw it twice for the Intercontinental title, and both of them were amazing matches.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And
I mean, though, I remember saying, of Wrestle Kingdom last year that was my favorite match was Naito versus White of both nights.
and now you remember. Okay.
Now I remember.
All right. So anyway, and we'll be back with you when we can. That's all we got. We'll try to do better next time. This is Shane saying long days, pleasant nights, and Jeff saying
Goodbye.